how can proper analytics, when a system, a software-based marketing automation is put in by the vendor, how can that sort of help the territory manager really just have a much better conversation with his or her dealers?
Yeah, so when you're using a technology to manage your leads, right, and to route your leads and ultimately to nurture those leads through to sale, it brings accountability and visibility to the whole process, right? There's a whole bunch of data in the system that you can see. And the nice thing is that when you use that technology, you can set up permissions within your organization for your TMs, your regional managers, your executive team to have access to this data based on what's important to them. So your TMs are going to see all the dealers that they manage. Your district folks are going to see everything within there, and all that data kind of rolls up, right? So now, as you know, the territory manager, when you go in to meet with your dealer on a monthly basis or whatever your cadence is for stopping by and seeing that particular dealer, the conversation can take a slightly different turn, right? Typically sometimes, I shouldn't say typically, sometimes those conversations can be a little bit one-sided and be a little bit like, what have you done for me lately? And, if they're multi-line guys, my other guys are sending me leads and you guys aren't sending me anything and blah, 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 blah. Right. Well, now all of a sudden the TM can say, well, actually, we sent you 10 leads last month based on what I see here in the system. So my question for you is, how are you making out with those leads?
Right.
And the system puts you in a position to see a whole lot of data associated with what those leads have been doing. So, if the dealer's saying, well, these leads aren't good or they're tire kickers or whatever it is, you've got some ammunition to say otherwise. Plus, as the TM, you can see what all the other dealers in your market have been doing with the leads you're sending to them. So, you start to be able to say, hey, Mr. Dealer, I hear you. You're closing 1 out of 10 of these things. I have to question what's going on here with the leads that are coming to you, because my other dealers are closing 3 out of 10 for the sake of discussion, right?
And that may be that the dealer thinks he's doing well and is doing the best intentions, but having that kind of data from a territory perspective could really help be an eye opener. Hey, I got to fix some things here.
It allows the conversation to happen, right?
Yeah.
That's really the main thing. And again, it's not to point the finger at this or make this adversarial, but it allows the conversation to happen. And oftentimes there's learnings to be had, right? Like we've seen organizations take this data and have training sessions off of it, how best to close leads and how, those kind of things can happen accordingly. So it just becomes interesting because you now have data, you now have visibility, and you can help, grow that process. All this has to do with routing leads, nurturing leads, and ultimately closing leads, right? I mean, the one thing that we all know, and every marketing stat will tell you, no matter how great all this process is, we know from the very beginning of this whole thing that half of the leads that come to your website and show interest in your product are not ready to buy today, right? Even if everything is going right, we know that to be true. So the question starts to become, what are we doing as an organization to get a bigger piece of that 50% that aren't ready to buy, right? What are we doing to help, carve out more of that and get our fair share of wallet from that 50%? These are the types of programs that can help you grow that, significantly as you're looking at your overall process.